everyone, I'm Mike Gibson, and you're watching the program Capital Ideas Life. More than 13 million people live in the Russian capital, and many have cars. However, in recent years, more and more Muscovites decided not to own cars. This is because the city is actively developing and improving the public transport system, as well as building new roads to help you get to other cities in Russia faster. In Moscow, the road traffic, the urban transport and parking are all monitored here in the center of traffic management. Today, we will visit the main control center. This is where all the city's transport is managed. And not only that. In order to make driving in the city a more comfortable and safe experience, the Traffic Management Center, the TMC, was set up by the government of Moscow. The TMC Situation Center manages traffic on all the city's roads. It receives data from thousands of digital devices located throughout the city, including radio location detectors, CCTV cameras, and public transport tracking systems. Behind me is the heart of Moscow traffic circulation, and here are its signs. On the screen is shown in real time the most important traffic intersections of Moscow. In the upper left corner of the screen, a special scoreboard shows road congestion levels. The color of the scoreboard changes depending on the number of cars. The length of traffic jams on the main highways in the city is also shown separately. This data, as well as videos from CCTV cameras, are displayed on the monitors of the Situation Center's employees.
Michael, now we are in the shift workers' room. Each district in Moscow is divided into areas. There are 4 people watching the central part of the city, with 4 monitors in each workplace. This helps us a lot with managing traffic lights. Being able to monitor many cameras simultaneously, we get a real-time picture of traffic conditions.
The TMC experts know everything about the situation on the roads in the city. Data comes from 2,500 surveillance cameras and almost 4,000 road traffic detectors. Every intersection in Moscow is visible from several points. If specialists notice an accident or, for example, see that there are more cars going in one direction, they can adjust the traffic lights on their PC. This can redistribute traffic to avoid traffic jams. The TMC Situation Center also gets information about road traffic accidents from the 112 service. This service receives phone calls about car crashes. There are digital information screens throughout Moscow where the center provides real-time information to drivers about what is happening on the roads. There are about 200 screens in the city. Also in the morning and in the evening, the center makes radio announcements every half an hour.
As you can see, we don't have many people here, but we keep the whole city under control. This wouldn't have been possible without powerful automatic systems, such as road monitoring systems located throughout the city, radio location detectors, and surveillance cameras that issue traffic tickets and also work as traffic detectors. These devices provide the data on the number of cars moving in a certain direction. On top of this, we receive data from tracking systems for ground passenger transport, taxi, and shared cars. All of these give us a very accurate picture of what is happening on the roads. Consequently, we can take efficient management actions.
How does the Situation Center work?
There's a shift worker here 24/7 to ensure that all necessary measures are undertaken. There are more people working in the daytime during the rush hour and fewer people at night because not much is happening in the city. All of our systems, in one way or another, have a certain level of intelligence. There are many efficient systems at play here. They help to remove routine functions while saving human labor and redirecting it to the truly intellectual tasks, such as dealing with the traffic management strategy.
And how is passenger transport monitored?
This is a very important objective, and so the TMC participates in monitoring passenger transport too. Moreover, we act as an independent appraiser of the performance of carriers in Moscow. For example, payments concerning transportation contracts go through our systems. It is a very important function that ensures that buses in Moscow move in accordance with the terms of the government contract and their timetables.
Over the course of the centre's 10-year operation, the number of road traffic crashes with injuries has declined by more than 20%. In 2019, Russia's capital was no longer among top 5 cities with the worst traffic jams, according to the traffic index compiled by TomTom, a navigation service company. Although congestion levels on the roads are still high, there are 7 million cars registered in Moscow. Moving around the city is getting easier and faster every year. According to the investment climate ranking of the Agency for Strategic Initiatives, in 2019, Moscow was the best Russian region for both living and business. In order to achieve such results, the Moscow government has developed various incentive programs. One of them is the creation of a special economic zone in the city. I'm now in Technopolis, Moscow. Technopolis is a group of industrial buildings united by a common name with the status of a special economic zone. Technopolis Moscow, a special economic zone, has 5 sites. 4 of them are located 37 kilometers to the northwest from Moscow in Zelenograd, and 1 more is in the southeast in Pechatniki. That's where we are right now. Moscow's Special Economic Zone is one of the few in Russia and the rest of the world that has both greenfield and brownfield sites. If the park is classified as a greenfield site, the tenant is given a plot of land where it can build all the necessary infrastructure. This option is more attractive to big companies. On the brownfield sites, tenants can place their machinery on the premises of the already existing technological park, saving costs on construction.
We have a special economic zone. Perhaps today it's the most effective tool for attracting investment because it offers the biggest number of advantages, including property, land, profit, and transport benefits. But most importantly, it's a place where high-technology production sites are concentrated. High-tech manufacturing requires a substantial amount of foreign machinery. Consequently, most companies which import foreign equipment want to land, we can put it this way, in a special economic zone, because it offers a duty-free import benefit. This explains why there's a serious interest in the brownfield sites, the area that is almost 100% occupied today, where we offer our colleagues plots of land for the construction of new plants on the premises of the Special Economic Zone. There's still some space there, and we are continuously working toward expanding the Special Economic Zone.
In the beginning of the summer of 2020, Technopolis Moscow joined the World Free Zones Organization, the World FZO. Founded in 2014 in Switzerland, it comprises industrial parks and special zones worldwide. Today, the World FZO includes over 50,000 companies in 126 countries. The organization helps businessmen to select sites worldwide and supports experience and knowledge sharing among its members. Thus, the new status will allow residents of the Special Economic Zone Technopolis Moscow to increase exports and attract investors from other markets for the implementation of their projects. Another popular form of public transport in Moscow is car sharing. The first cars with minute-by-minute rentals appeared in Moscow in 2013. However, the car sharing industry began to rapidly grow only in 2015, when the Moscow government launched a support program for this type of transport called Moscow Car Sharing. This allowed car sharing customers free parking in the city centre. Today, car sharing is already an integral part of the transportation infrastructure in Russia's capital. There are over 31,000 shared cars with a permanent rental rate driving along Moscow streets. Every day, tens of thousands of rides are made. In the course of 24 hours, all cars of the Moscow car sharing pool drive over 1 million kilometers. Nearly every 10th resident of Moscow has at least once taken a car for a short-term rental. That is about 1 million people. There are several reasons why this service is so popular. Overall, it is convenient and cheap. First and foremost, however, this popularity reflects the development of the sharing economy. People are opting for convenient use on a temporary basis instead of the permanent use of purchasing.
You don't have to rack your brains about where to park the car, because, as you know, you can leave the shared car in any place where parking is permitted. You don't need to think about where, when, and how to fill it up. Neither do you have to think whether it is safe or whether it has passed technical inspection. Without a doubt, employees of the car-sharing service will fill up the car, conduct a technical inspection, wash it, and get it ready for the next driver.
Moscow is the capital of the world's car-sharing industry. By the number of cars with a permanent rental, it leaves behind even Beijing. This is despite the city's population being almost twice as big as Moscow's. In comparison, the pool of shared cars in Beijing is no more than 20,000 vehicles.
While launching this project, we were quite pessimistic about the number of shared cars in Moscow. We estimated it to be about 5,000 or 6,000 vehicles. Today, there are already 30,000 shared cars. This mode of transport has become extremely popular. It also allows for significant improvement of the environmental situation in the city by reducing the use of personal vehicles. Incidentally, this form of transport attracts foreign investment too, because the major operators in this sector are foreign companies.
Initially, this service's key objectives in Moscow were to reduce both the number of cars parked on the streets and traffic jams. How can this be done? By making people switch from personal to shared cars.
First, one shared car can replace up to 7 personal cars. Second, car-sharing companies operate on robust IT platforms. We have the digital product and the software to properly distribute the cars across the streets in the city. This allows for car-sharing's effective reduction of traffic congestion in the city.
In Moscow today, it's possible to rent dozens of different types of vehicles, from sports cars to minivans. I've decided to rent an iconic British car. Here is my Mini Cooper for my next trip. This car will take us to our next destination, but first of all, must carefully inspect the car for any damage or scratches. It's in good condition. The documents are good to go. We confirm the car. Need to put our seatbelts on. And off we go. The government of Moscow actively supports the development of the car-sharing service. Already this year, about 5,000 public cars will appear on the streets of the city. Today, Moscow is listed within the world's top 5 cities with the best healthcare systems according to the first survey, Healthy Cities, Healthcare in Major Global Cities. This survey was carried out by PricewaterhouseCoopers. The first 4 places are held by Sydney, New York, Singapore, and London. Analysts studied the situation in the world's 15 major cities. Moscow ranks 3rd in terms of the density of doctors, with 37 physicians per 10,000 people. Today's healthcare system in Moscow consists of unique surgical operations, cutting-edge technologies, surprising stories of recovery, and doctors working around the clock. Behind me is the Medsy Clinical and Diagnostic Center on Krasnaya Presnya. Medsy is the largest Russian network of private medical clinics. Many of my friends are treated here, including myself. As I need to get my annual checkup today, I decided to do it right here at the Medsy Clinic. This medical center, situated in the center of Moscow, was opened in 2016. Today, the center on Presnya is the flagship clinic of the Medsy group of companies. The group operates a network of 26 clinics in Moscow and the wider Moscow region, as well as another 18 clinics in 9 regions across Russia. It is the largest federal-scale private healthcare network in the country.
Medsi has been operating on the market for 24 years. It was among the first companies to appear in the private healthcare segment. We refer to our company as 360 Degrees. We are not limited to outpatient clinics for children and adults or clinical diagnostic centers alone. We also have large hospitals with about 1,000 beds, emergency and ambulance services, as well as a rehabilitation center and sanatoriums.
The Clinical Diagnostic Center on Krasnaya Presnya can receive more than 1,000 patients a day. It offers a full range of medical services, disease prevention, and the diagnostics of various diseases, rehabilitation, as well as outpatient and inpatient medical services.
Today, many Russians who used to go abroad to Israel, Germany, and other countries for medical treatment use the services provided by our clinics because it's very convenient. Your personal medical record is here. Doctors know you personally. They know what diseases you have, and they apply a personalized approach to patients. Also, diagnoses are not done by one doctor, but by a group of experts. This allows for the verification of the diagnosis and the selection of effective treatment.
It is not only Muscovites, but also residents in other Russian cities who entrust their health to Medsi. Also, there are many foreign patients who come for treatment here.
We provide high-quality medical services comparable with the European, American, and Korean ones. After all, I've been to almost all Japanese and Korean clinics and visited many U.S. clinics as part of my studies and experience sharing with foreign doctors. We do our best to implement and further develop the best practices.
The number of foreign patients who come for treatment to Medsi grows by 50% every year. There are special services, including a personal medical manager, offered to foreign clients. A foreign patient can be picked up at the airport. If necessary, transfer and even accommodation in Moscow for the period of the medical checkup can be arranged too. These days, all the museums in Moscow are closed and work only online. We were lucky enough to be able to film the working of the Victory Museum in these unusual times. We will show you how they prepare online excursions, which you can then watch on the internet. And we'll also take the opportunity to have a little look at the rest of the museum. The Moscow Victory Museum of Poklona Hill is one of the best-known exhibition complexes in Russia dedicated to the history of World War II. Like all other cultural institutions, in the spring of 2020, the museum closed to visitors. However, its employees managed to quickly adapt to the new environment. They started recording video versions of their tours and posting them on the museum's website.
Depending on the duration of the video, the recording process can take slightly more than 1 hour, and the videos usually last for 10 to 15 minutes.
Since the introduction of the lockdown, 100,000 users have visited online tours. The museum's YouTube channel offers more than 20 video reels where employees talk about specific exhibits, as well as the exhibition more generally. The most popular among visitors is the virtual trip to the 3D panorama called Battle for Berlin, the Feat of Banner Bearers. Since the beginning of May, it has been visited by more than 12,000 people.
All relics, the way they looked in May and April of 1945, have been transferred here, to our panorama. And people will keep coming here after the pandemic is over. They will be able to see this.
Another project of the museum, which you can not only watch online but can also take part in, is called Victory in Faces. It is an archive of personal pictures and stories of war participants brought together on one big media screen. The creators call it the National Historical Depository. It includes almost 150 million unique pictures and stories.
Its purpose is to gather and keep all stories, all family legends, the pictures of the people who have gone through that challenging and difficult war.
You can leave your application for the participation in the project on the site litsapobyeda.rf. To do that, You need to have a picture of a person or its digital copy, their date of birth, and information about where they fought or worked. Victory in Faces is an international project. Consequently, you can send your application in English too. Anyone can take part in this project. For example, I have just entered the details of my father, who was a young officer during the war. Now we're going to go and have a look at the results. The National Historical Depository, Victory in Faces, which can keep millions of pictures and text files, is expected to become the major digital bank of data, pictures, and personal stories of the people who fought in the Great Patriotic War. The second largest religion, both in Russia and in its capital, is Islam. The symbolic center of Islam in the city is the Moscow Cathedral Mosque. It was built on the site of the ancient mosque erected during the reign of Emperor Nicholas II. The religious board of Muslims in Russia proposed a large-scale reconstruction. The initiative was supported by the Moscow Mayor's Office. They helped with the implementation of the construction project. The building, with an area of almost 19,000 square meters, was erected in a very short time, a mere 4 years. This Moscow Cathedral Mosque is one of the biggest in Russia. It can accommodate 10,000 people at the same time. During the main Muslim festivals, Kurban Bayram and Uraz Bayram, several 100,000 parishioners come here. As the mosque can only fit a small fraction of them, most people pray on the adjacent streets. During the coronavirus pandemic, the mosque was closed. However, the services were broadcast on the mosque's website and in its YouTube channel 24/7. The employees of the mosque also organized support for people in need.
Social support is the foundation of religion. Religion is of no use if it doesn't serve the interests of society. Social support is not limited to a single task. During the Kurban Bayram and Uraza Bayram festivals, additional rituals are aimed at promoting generosity. But you must always start the day with sadaqah. It cannot only be expressed in the form of financial help. If you go to your son or daughter and pat them on the head, this is already sadaqah. Your smile to your friend or to a stranger, this is also sadaqah.
The mosque also houses the Museum of Islam. It preserves rare editions of the Quran. This one was made more than a century ago at the Emperor's Palace, and this Quran is written on 165 silver sheets. The Moscow Cathedral Mosque is the tallest and most spacious in Europe. It has 6 floors with prayer halls. The height of the minarets is 79 meters. In the course of the new building's construction, the old mosque was preserved. This mosque dates back to 1904. Today, it is the heart of the new mosque.
The most amazing element of our mosque is its dome. This is an element of ancient architecture. It's believed that all other elements, such as arches and windows, are secondary. In fact, it is the dome that unites them into a single architectural ensemble. Words are inscribed in the center of the dome, where the chandelier is mounted. The words read, "In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful." These are the words with which Muslims begin any good deed.
On the black stripes, extracts from the Quran are written. Black and light stripes alternate like day and night. Nobody knows with which one the artist started, the black or the light one, just as nobody knows what came first, day or night.
Moscow has always been considered a multicultural center. It is a multinational city with no restrictions for any nationality. In terms of its human resource potential, this is one of the city's strengths. Such national diversity ensures an influx of skilled talent to the city. This enables the forming of highly efficient professional teams across all industries. This includes construction, education, healthcare, and research and development. Our department always participates in and supports international events. In fact, there's a huge number of examples. I think tolerance is the key contributor to Moscow's stability and tranquility.
И спокойствие в Москве – это именно толерантность.
The Rublovskaya water treatment plant is one of 4 modern complexes for the purification and supply of drinking water to the city. It supplies water to 26 districts. These districts are in the west, northwest, and center of Moscow. Several rural settlements in the Moscow regions are also included. Water gets there from 4 reservoirs. Here, it goes through complex cleaning processes. Only after this is it then fed through to the water supply network. The journey from the initial water intake to the tap in the apartment takes 8 to 12 hours. It begins here at the pumping station, where powerful pumps initially lift water from the Moskva River.
Here, at the pumping station of the first lift, water goes through the initial purification process. Water falls through the 4-centimeter wide gaps in the grates and enters the dock chambers. The dock chambers are equipped with conical mesh fish screens. Going through the conical fish barriers, water enters the pumps, and fish and juvenile fish go downstream through the fish pipeline. This is how we solve environmental issues.
The employees of the station regularly monitor the state of the water in the river. Their goal is to prevent any harmful chemical substances that can be found in water from entering the city water supply network.
Upon any indication that an oil product is in the river, we install floating containment booms. This allows for the pumps to collect any oil found on the surface layers. We have an oil sorbent. By scattering it on the surface of the river, we can absorb oil products.
Following the initial intake from the river, water then goes through several reservoirs of the Rublovskaya water treatment plant. This process takes from 5 to 7 hours. The requirements for water are very stringent. It must meet all sanitary and consumer standards. In the laboratory, water samples are examined manually and also with the help of special equipment. For example, here an employee is checking the chlorine levels in drinking water. This is one of the most important indicators. Chlorine kills microorganisms that are dangerous to human health. However, its concentration should not exceed the permissible limit.
Our laboratory carries out a wide range of tests. We examine physical, chemical, microbiological, hydrobiological, and organoleptic indicators. There's a total of 186 indicators that we monitor. All of them are important. We check their compliance with the requirements set forth in the sanitary regulations. We take the first samples from the initial water source. We have a service called the Sanitary Protection Zone. 24 hours in advance, we can forecast the quality of the water that will come to our station that day.
Several years ago, the station was fully upgraded. We've now got a new water purification facility called ozone sorption. Now, drinking water is purified with carbon and ozone. There are special ozone generators installed here. They synthesize ozone from the surrounding air by an electrical discharge. The water that goes through the ozonation process is left with no organic impurities. Moreover, this water tastes good and it is crystal clear and without any odor.
There are several key specifications that are monitored: water turbidity and color, the presence of organic substances, and water permanganate index. Water taste and color are very important. First and foremost, the consumer pays attention to water's organoleptic properties. This is where we focus our attention, and is also why new water treatment facilities have been built.
Although water supplied to Moscow today meets high-quality standards, many residents of the capital buy bottled drinking water by force of habit. Many households own built-in water purification filters. However, according to Moskva Canal experts, their effectiveness remains dubious.
At the water treatment station, we monitor water content. We know what flora and bacteria it contains. But we don't know what is happening in our household water filters and what microflora may live there. What if this filter pollutes the water and launches the reverse process? Water should be tested. Water quality should be monitored every day. But you can't do this at home, can you? This is why I think there's no point in built-in water filters. Tap water is safe to drink.
The full official name of the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour is the Cathedral Church of the Nativity of Jesus. It was on the 25th of December 1812, Christmas Day, that the Russian Emperor Alexander I announced victory over Napoleon. He then promised to build a church in the name of Christ the Saviour as a sign of gratitude to God. This was made both for saving the fatherland from the death that threatened it and in the eternal memory of the people's perseverance in the war. However, the construction of this church, which would become a symbol of courage and military glory, only began 27 years later in 1839. The younger brother of Alexander I, Emperor Nicholas I, personally chose the site for the construction of the church. He chose Moscow's Volkonka Street, not far from the Kremlin. The Cathedral of Christ the Saviour was only completed and consecrated on the 26th of May, 1883. This was during the reign of Alexander III. The cathedral was an important, one might say a personal, matter for all Russian emperors who reigned during its construction. The Cathedral of Christ the Saviour is a monument dedicated to the Patriotic War of 1812 in honour of the victory of Russia over Napoleon. There are memorial plaques near the entrance with the names of battles, unit commanders, the fallen, and decorated officers. This cathedral was not only a reminder of the heroic deeds of the Russian people who defeated Napoleon, it also served as a venue for the most important events held by the Russian Orthodox Church. Unfortunately, however, it only existed for 48 years. In 1931, the Bolsheviks blew it up. In its place, they built the USSR's largest outdoor swimming pool, and it was only at the end of the 20th century that the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour was built anew. It's interesting that the first cathedral took 44 years to build, but the new cathedral took only a little more than 5 years. The idea to restore the church was born shortly before the breakup of the Soviet Union. This restoration provided a powerful symbol of Russia's historic transformations.
A social movement appeared in support of this idea to recreate the cathedral. In the 1990s, a community of the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour was established. It even launched a fundraising campaign. The country's leadership made a political decision. This was to build the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour on its former site, to recreate the cathedral in its original form. The fund for financial support to restore the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour was set up to raise funds for the construction.
Like the former church, the new cathedral was not built solely with public funds, but also with donations. Hundreds of thousands of people and companies in Russia, as well as other countries, made donations for the cathedral's restoration. Among them was the President of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, and the President of Argentina, Carlos Menem. A year after construction began, the first service was held in the unfinished building.
I would like to congratulate you on the first patronal feast held in this holy church. Just a few years ago, it was hard to imagine that in our difficult times, this desecrated shrine of Russia
would again stand here in a deep pit in place of a swimming pool.
On the 7th of January 2000, Orthodox Christmas, the newly built Cathedral of Christ the Saviour opened its doors to parishioners. The Patriarch of Moscow and all Russia, Alexei, served the first solemn Christmas liturgy here. On the 19th of January 2000, the Cathedral of Christ the Saviour was consecrated. That was the beginning of the cathedral's new history. It then became the symbol of Russia's spiritual rebirth. Dozens of cafes with various cuisine under the same roof. This new gastronomic trend in the restaurant business has become very popular in Moscow over the past several years. In a short space of time, the Russian capital has come a long way from having small food courts and shopping centres to now having some of the grandest food malls in Europe. Old markets and vacant premises of former warehouses are being transformed into gastro markets. The Danilovsky Market has become one of the main attraction points for true foodies. Danilivsky Market is one of the first gastro markets in Moscow. It opened in 2015 on the sites of the old market. Today, in this trendy gastronomic space, you can not only buy fresh products, but also try the cuisine from many countries around the world. Let's go and see for ourselves. The Danilovsky Market is situated near Tulska metro station, just a 20-minute drive from the city centre. It's one of the oldest markets in Moscow. This year it turned 57, but nothing here reminds you of its age nor of its Soviet past. This is a real gastronomic world, and it's very large. The centre of this old market has been rebuilt several times. Now we see that in the centre of the hall there is a shopping mall with fresh produce and food, and around it dozens of cafes with a wide variety of cuisine. There are 39 farmer stalls in the market. Here you can buy meat and fish, exotic berries and fruit, nuts and other products. But it is not the produce, rather the delicious food stalls that draw many people. There are cafes and bistros along the whole perimeter of the market. Today, there are over 40 restaurant concepts with a variety of national cuisines represented.
Since I was a child, I preferred vegetarian and vegan cuisine. I don't like meat or fish. This is the reason why I've found myself here. Well, I prefer Oriental cuisine, so today we're at Danilovsky Market with you. If you look around, you'll see an Armenian stall, a Dagestan stall, Georgian food. There's lots of meat, greens, and vegetables. I like Chinese cuisine because I've been working with China for a long time. When I go to a food court, I look for Chinese food and I compare it with the way they cook it in China. In general, I want something special, something that you don't eat every day. Regular meat, fried pelmeni, soup. I want something new. Where can I find it? At a food court.
Here, a team of Vietnamese cooks in front of guests prepares street food with fresh ingredients, including the most popular dish for which hundreds of visitors come to this cafe every day, the traditional pho bo soup. Are all these here for pho bo?
Yes, all of the ingredients are for pho bo. Veal, beef, lime, greens. Here, the ingredients for your soup are selected right in front of the customers.
The basis of the dish, the broth, is cooked for 8 hours in these 150-litre pots. Muscovites are so fond of the classic dish of the Vietnamese street food that in one day, guests consume nearly 600 litres of traditional pho bo. That is 4 150-litre pots. Now it's clear why they have 150-litre pots. It's the biggest soup I think I've ever seen. Yes. Excellent. More than 50 types of hummus, tabbouleh salad, baked eggplants, and sweet pepper. You can buy all these at the Tangineria, an ethnic bistro of Moroccan cuisine with halal food. Here, they cook dishes of stewed lamb, beef, and chicken. For dessert, they serve baklava and mahancha pies. Chef Musa Amhaik welcomes the guests with aromatic Moroccan tea.
Here we have green tea and fresh mint. We make it Moroccan style.
Yes, this is done by someone who has experience.
Taste it. It's delicious. We're always happy to see you.
The smell is very good.
This is authentic Moroccan tea.
You can quickly move from Morocco to China. Literally several meters away, cooks at the Three Ducks offer us dishes of Shanghai regional cuisine. On the menu are chipped cucumbers, spicy pig ears, udon noodles, fried rice with vegetables, and of course, Peking duck.
You know, if we talk about the whole technical process from the very beginning, it takes about 6 to 8 hours to prepare the duck for cooking. It's marinated and glazed with a special sugar solution which gives it the crispy skin. Then it goes into the oven. Then it comes to us and we let it rest for a bit. All these processes take place at another kitchen. Every morning the duck arrives here fresh and we roast it throughout the day.
Chinese cuisine is considered to be one of the most popular in the world. However, it is almost impossible to taste authentic Chinese dishes at Moscow street food stores. It's because traditional Asian recipes are often adapted for the European palate. For example, they add fewer flavorings to make the dish less spicy. And the ducks bought for making the popular dish come from the farms of the Russian city of Saratov.